Hey guys, today we're talking about the expat reality. It's kind of a reality check. The other day, and this happens quite a lot actually, I got some people telling me that you can live way better in the USA on a small budget than you can in the Philippines. Now anybody that's been here knows that that's a bunch of baloney. It's all about the lifestyle. And granted, in the United States, there are some things that people on lower budgets can get. And a lot of people in some states don't get those benefits, whereas in some states you do. When you're poor in some states, they treat you good. They give you social programs, they give you benefits, they give you all kinds of stuff, and it helps you. Food programs, housing programs, all that stuff. And in the Philippines, we don't have much of that. We do to a certain extent. They have housing programs for people to buy homes at low cost. Now, if somebody back in the US walks into a hospital in some states, they'll treat you and give you full coverage for whatever under some sort of, like in Massachusetts, probably be like Mass Health or something like that. They'd sign you up for that and you'd get full coverage, you'd be taken care of, you'd have all your issues taken care of, and then you walk out and you're a new man or a new woman, okay? In the Philippines, it doesn't work that way. You have to have insurance. So there's a cost there that's different than if you're poor in the US. And also you got Medicare and Medicaid, things like that. Some of those things don't carry over. Some people say, yeah, they do in some cases, and they may. I'm not really up on Medicaid and Medicare and all that stuff. Okay, I know Medicare is the big one that people worry about over here, and they're talking about portability, and I did a story about that. But some people said there are some things that carry over. Some of those don't last that long, and it's very difficult. They're very user unfriendly, I'll say. Okay, and I've never ever yet heard of anybody using Medicare over here. Never ever. So just FYI, if anybody out there has used it over here, I'd like to hear from them in the comment section. It'd be great to hear from you, and it would be a big help to other people to hear what you're using. But I want to hear somebody that's actually used it over here. And that's the thing that we want to know. Because until I hear that, I don't believe it. Because I've heard people commenting and stuff like that, but I think there's stipulations on that you have to be, that it's only good outside the country for a certain amount of time, and then after that it's no good. Okay, for people that travel the world or something like that. I heard if there's an emergency outside the US and you're on Medicare, it'll work, but you have to submit the bills. So again, you're covering the bills, and then you have to put in a thing and submit it. It's really hot here, guys. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about that, and about a bunch of other stuff on here today, because a lot of people that are writing to me, I'm still getting this from a lot of people. There is a situation, I think, with a lot of expats and a lot of people in the world today, both in Australia, the UK, Europe, places like that, that in their country they're dirt poor on $1,500 a year or whatever, and they're not doing well, okay? And I want to say this. In the Philippines, it's possible to eke by on that if you're really, really good with your money. If you have a girlfriend that cooks for you and cooks cheap, like rice meals with chicken, things like that, you can live good, okay? You can live decent. Will you live Western style? No, you won't. Family next to me, my godchild's family, they probably live on about $600 a month, okay? $600 a month. They have AC. They don't have it on all the time. They have it on for about 4 hours each night just to cool down the room. They're learning how to live cheaper, okay? Because they have to. They're forced to. Okay, so they make about $600 a month, and they're doing it. They live decent. They have good furniture. Nice, clean place. They live right next to us. I helped them paint their house, actually. I painted it. The girl wanted it, our neighbor wanted it like a violet color. So we painted it like a purple violet color, I guess you'd call it. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of cute. not a color I'd want, but that's what she wanted. So we helped them out because, you know, it's our godchild's parents, and we love them a lot because, you know, they're just nice people. But they don't have insurance except through Phil Health. Okay? So, okay, an expat comes over here, he pays $300 for Phil Health. They only cover like about a certain amount. It's a very low amount, less than half in most cases. So where are you gonna come up with the rest of the money? If you come over here, you gotta have that emergency fund. We talked about that a little bit. But we do still have people coming over here. No emergency fund. You know, it's like, you know, every so often I get somebody, you know, before this COVID stuff, they'll come over here, no emergency fund. And he says, well, I'm gonna start saving, Steve. How are you gonna save when you're on a $1,200 a month budget? And he says, well, I'm gonna cut back on everything. Well, how much can you cut back? You know, that's the funny part, is when you're on a lower budget, it's hard cutting back, man. And you're only saving, what, $100, $200, $300 a month. You know, so when something hits the fan over here, and you get a bill for $5,000 or $15,000 or $30,000, you're probably never gonna catch up. You're never gonna be able to pay that. I mean, and they might ask you for some money up front to pay the bill. Because they don't care if you live or die. They just care about the money that's going into the hospital, because most of the hospitals here are private hospitals, and a public hospital might not even treat you. Just remember that, you know, because you're not even a citizen here. So for you guys that are thinking about this stuff, think reality. Reality is key. You know, I mean, I get people here all the time. They want to sit in an armchair back home in the United States and make comments. And I understand where they're coming from. They got nothing better to do, you know, sometimes. And they make these snide comments about what I have to say. But they've never been here and never lived it, or they were over here for a week or something, and suddenly they know it all because they were here for a week. And they know better than anybody in the Philippines, because that week they learned everything in the Philippines that they needed to know, and they're super smart. And hey, you know, they can live in their own altered reality if they want, but it's just not true. Just because somebody says it doesn't make it true, and that goes with me too. You know, but I do try to get out the truth as much as I can. You know, I don't twist the truth. I just tell the truth, you know. And I just see these people, and I just shake my head. You know, I wish I could get people to understand and make sure that they're making the correct decisions. And some of them don't. Some of them won't. And I know most of these people right now, they can't even get in here. But if you saw some of the people that are writing to me and saying, Steve, I'm still coming in no matter what, on $600, on $7, $12, $9, whatever. Can you live on those? Again, I'm gonna say yes. You can. Very difficult. We're not Filipino. You know? If you're living on 600 and you got a girlfriend over here, chances are the girlfriend's not gonna stick with you too long, because $600 for her is not living decent. It's living poor. It's poor. It's okay. It's still poor. It's not a good amount. It's not a healthy amount for an expat, especially. And especially when it comes to healthcare. So think about that, because back home, you guys got Medicare, Medicaid for really poor people. You also got organizations, places that'll help you with food pantries. You got welfare. You guys can probably hear that screaming here from the cicadas. It's really, really loud here. You know, you got a lot more benefits back home that we don't have here. And once you leave the States, that's it. You leave those behind. You know, I mean, don't leave those benefits on the table back home. You might not like the United States, the way things are back there, but when you get over here and it's 95 degrees or 90 degrees and 100% humidity, and you got sweat dripping down your face, and you might have no AC, which I have AC, thank God. You know, and you have to wear a face shield when you're out and about, and a mask. Luckily, I'm in a park, you know, but you might have to do that. Sweating to death, Really think it out. Because we don't know how long it's going to last over here. They might open things up, let you guys in, but still keep the quarantine thing going. This has been a long-term thing over here. Bad or good, we have to put up with it. You know, a lot of guys say, well, I want to come in and see my Filipina. That's great. But, you know, there is a reality. It'd be great to be with your girlfriend. I realize that. But is it worth the aggravation sometimes over here for you? Can you live with that? I can. Some can't. We have some people over here right now. They said after the COVID, they're going home. I've heard quite a few people write to me just recently. You've probably seen some in the comment sections. There was 1 or 2 comments in there about that too, saying they were going home. I think somebody wrote it in one of the live streams too. I'm not sure, that they were up and leaving. And we've also had some people change their minds about coming here. And they've wrote those in the comments too, saying I changed my mind because of everything that's going on. I don't think I'm going to end up coming to the Philippines finally. I'm staying home. You know? And it's good to have that reality check and know that you were stepping into a mistake or whatever. For me, Philippines wasn't a mistake. Probably one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, if anything. For me, what did I leave behind? I left behind a miserable job with a lot of miserable people in a school system. And the people that were miserable, the higher ups were the most miserable people to work for that you could possibly work for. It was miserable. These people, they made people's life 10 times harder than it had to be when you went to work. No amount of pay was worth working with them, you know? And that's why when I come over here and I got my freedom, I was like, yeah. And I remember before I left, I was told by somebody in the school department high up, oh, Steve, make sure you don't go on any social networks or anything and say anything bad, otherwise you might not be able to come back here to work. Like, I want to go back there and work, you know? Seriously. I found that really funny, that somebody has to tell me not to talk bad about a place that's bad. Like it's a big secret. Everybody knows that that place was a toilet, but I'm supposed to keep it secret, like nobody else knows. I'm not telling anybody anything that they don't know back there. Everybody in the city knows it, and in the state. They just don't talk about it. Because guess what? It's not PC to talk about that stuff. You know? And that's the sad part. Some school departments in the state of Massachusetts, I'll just say this. The treatment that they have to their people that work under them, and this is why I feel for teachers sometimes, and some of the teachers can be a little bit off too, but most of the teachers are pretty decent, is that the administrators, when they get in charge, it's really, really rough. Because they treat people like trash. It goes right to their head, and they just don't know how to treat people. We probably had one of the worst administrators probably in the state, and I won't mention her name. And I had to file a hostile work environment against her. And instead of demoting her or firing her, the city promoted her. You heard that right. Promoted her. That's all I'll say. Interesting though, huh? They promoted her. You know? I couldn't believe that. I shook my head after hearing that. They told me though, they said, Steve, we're going to get her away from you, but you might not like what we're doing with her or what's happening. I didn't care as long as she was out of the building until I heard they promoted her. And that's one of the reasons why I like getting out of the States. Because people that screw over people get rewarded in a very big way. Wow, there's a cicada like right here. You know, they get rewarded. You know, you screw up, you move up, you know, and that's the way it is in the United States, it seems. It seems like they're afraid to fire people that are useless, or they're kind of like not employee friendly. They don't work well with the employees of the system or the company or wherever you work. And it makes it miserable for people that work there. They're almost kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but they're like the worst dirtbags you could possibly meet. And I hate to say that word, but it's true, you know? And most of the people that I talk to that are leaving, or they're leaving their jobs to retire or whatever, they always got a story to tell me. Similar to mine, as they leave. You know, some people are lucky though. They're leaving their own company, they ran it, and they're happy. You know? But boy, the stories I could tell you from other people. And when I hear people coming over here, I'm so happy for them. Because it's a blessing to be here. It's a great place. It's the place to be. It's your home. And it's the way you build it. And like I tell people, build your foundation well here. And you'll have something solid underneath you. And you'll never want to go home. I don't want to go home. I might go home to visit, say hi, see my sister, see a few other people, see my cousins, people like that. Other than that, I really don't want to go home. You know, I would like to go out to Nevada and go on a trip. My girlfriend and I have talked about, you know, going back to the States possibly, getting a camper and stay there for like a couple of years or 3 years or something, which is a possibility. But I'm not so sure I want to do that, you know. But anyway, guys, God bless. I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. Something I wanted to talk about. Some people like to, you know, talk about stuff like that. Some people don't. But I thought it'd be a great vlog to talk about because it's where a lot of us come from. You know, and that's why I like to share my viewpoints on things. Because a lot of you guys are, you know, are living the same thing. Anyway, guys, God bless. Take care.